Hello, and welcome to episode 9 of the Rise Fitness and Nutrition Podcast. I am your host, Carlo. I am very excited to say that this is the first episode of a mini-series on macronutrients, as I would like to provide everybody the main important information to understand these essential parts of our diet. So without much further ado, let's dive in! You heard me right. Today we're going to talk about the macronutrients that I care about the most. I care about all of them, but protein in particular. So let's start with a little story. A few days ago I went for lunch with a group of friends to a barbecue restaurant here in Tokyo called the Smokehouse. We ordered a big combo platter of different cuts and meats, and to my surprise, a couple of friends repeated my ongoing motto, which is eat your protein. And they told me that every time they approach a meal, they kind of hear my voice saying it. I'm aware that somebody might find my message a little bit repetitive and like, hey man, you're just nailing it too much, take it easy. But I kind of makes me feel that the message is going somewhere. Albeit it does sound a bit scary if you hear my voice prompting you to have protein every time you're approaching a meal. So, if that happens, well, let me know. Anyway, first thing first. Let's give protein its definition. Proteins are organic molecules made up of amino acids, the building blocks of life. These amino acids are joined together by chemical bonds and then folded in different ways to create three-dimensional structures that are important to our body's functioning. Easy peasy, huh? Well, one key information to retain here. Proteins are made of amino acids that are building blocks of life. This is the one thing, among all the others, that you want to keep in mind. Now, when it comes to amino acids, there are two main different categories. We have the essential amino acids that our body needs from our diet because it cannot make enough on its own. For example, the super famous leucine, valine, and isoleucine from the branched chain amino acid supplements, the BCAA. And then we have the non-essential amino acids that our body can usually make for itself, for example, alanine. Why do we need an adequate intake of protein then? Think about what we said before. Amino acids are the building blocks of life. When we have protein through meals and eventual supplementation, our digestion breaks it in amino acids that enter our blood circulation into what is called the plasma pool of amino acids. And these provide a continuous supplies and replenishment to our cells, where they are needed to help our body function properly. What do amino acids do? They help our body to produce important molecules like enzymes, hormones, neurotransmitters, and antibodies. So imagine that without an adequate protein intake, our bodies cannot function properly. Oh, my apologies, I'm sorry, let me pick up. Hello? Hey bro, what are you talking about? Protein make you fat. You shouldn't eat that much protein, man. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's debunk this myth once and for all. Protein per se will not make you fat. Eating in caloric surplus will. So hypothetically, if you eat an enormous amount of protein a day that wildly exceeds your daily calories goal, you will, over time, gain weight. But this is just because you're overeating, and definitely it's not protein's fault. Anyway, back to our topic. How much protein should you eat per day? The WHO basic recommendation for protein intake is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight in untrained but generally healthy adults. So for instance, a 70 kilogram person will consume around 54 grams a day. But I want to stress the untrained part of the equation here, as this value is mainly considered to prevent protein deficiency. So really the minimum. If you're an active person, work out regularly, or you just walk, and you're not simply a couch potato, this might not be enough for you to provide enough building blocks to your body. So how much should your intake be if you're an active person? There is a bit of a trick here to consider. Protein matters in relation to your body composition, but also matters in relation to your daily calorie intake goal. If 1 gram of protein equals roughly 4 calories, keep in mind that the more you have, the better you should work balancing the other two macronutrients, fats and carbohydrates. But no need to stress it out because nowadays, if you have an app that tracks your macros, it will do the math for you, so no need to worry. Do you have pen and paper ready? because I'm about to give the suggestions for your ideal protein dosage. If you're training and working out regularly but want to maintain your body weight, try to have around 1.4 or 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. You might want to stay in the higher range if you're aiming at having a body recomposition. That means you want to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, provided, again, that you work out and do strength training regularly. If you're aiming at increasing muscle mass, try to have 1.6 or 2.4 grams per kilo of body weight. Considering that if you're an expert weightlifter and want to minimize fat gains while in a bulking phase, well, then you might want to go to 3.3 grams per kilo. Again, keep in mind that this range should be your aim if you have a healthy body weight but are considering to lose fat while minimizing muscle loss coming from a calorie deficit. If you are overweight but want to lose fat, try to have between 1.2 and 1.5 grams per kilo, as this will help you to maintain your muscle and potentially build some during the process of burning fat in a calorie deficit. Again, provided that you work out. Keep that in mind. Oh boy, not again. Hello?
Man, you gotta be kidding me. That many protein grams a day? Are you insane? That will kill your kidneys, man.
Okay, this is not entirely wrong, but the truth here is that if your kidneys are already in a compromised situation, yes, then an excess of protein might not be the best idea ever. But if your kidneys are healthy though, studies show that you don't have to worry about if you're consuming a high amount of protein, such as, for example, 3.3 grams per kilo of your body weight. Oh, by the way, you can find the studies link in the podcast description. A good rule of the thumb here is, if you're considering to increase your protein consumption to higher levels, have a checkup first to have the peace of mind on your side. Now let's open the Pandora's box on the best sources of protein. Inside our body, there is a continuous process of protein breakdown and building, and that's absolutely normal. The reason why eating protein is important is that we want to work to keep the balance in the favor of the building side. Surely, if one day you cannot have enough protein, well, that's not the end of the world. As we talked about previously, what matters here is the long run again. So where can you get your protein every day? There are animal-based and plant-based alternatives that can help out to achieve your goals. I personally would recommend to get a mix of the two to have the most beneficial effects from the animal protein with its rich amino acid content and from the plant for the unbeatable micronutrients and fiber content that are also essential for our body to keep thriving. Then ultimately, the preference here is subjective. You choose what you like and you choose what you think is better for you and for whatever other choice you want to have. What type of sources do I mostly use? Well, I like white meat, eggs, broccoli, beans, and this is just an example, and I like to mix them in my diet. Now, if you go full plant-based, one thing to keep an eye on is the total amount of carbohydrates that come from a vegetarian source of protein. Let's make an example. Chicken breast versus lentils. Actually, two of my favorites head on. If you take 100 grams of chicken breast, you will have 31 grams of protein, 3.6 grams of fat, and 0 carbohydrates. If you take 100 grams of lentils, you will have 9 grams of protein, 0.4 grams of fat, and 20 grams of carbs. Now, if you wanted to eat 31 grams of protein through lentils only, you should have then 350 grams of those, but this will also add 70 grams of carbohydrates. Just keep that in mind for the overall balance of your daily macronutrients. Nah, you gotta be kidding me. What now?
Bro, listen. You need to drink your protein, man. It's essential and the best way to get them.
Well, actually it depends. Protein powder, whether plant-based or animal-based, is a supplement and, as the word say itself, it is there to supplement your nutrition, not to substitute that. If your diet is rich enough in protein, chances are you do not need to have protein powder. But if you find it difficult at times to reach your levels of protein, for several reasons, you're busy, you're going out for dinner, you don't have time to prepare the meal, well, a protein shake then is an excellent way and convenient specifically to help you get the extra grams that you need. Can protein help you stay satiated? There is an interesting study that you will find linked in the podcast description about this topic. And this does seem to show the subjects that had a high protein meal were more likely to be less hungry after it, and most importantly, less likely to eat energy dense food, for example, high calories but low nutrients, during the day. So, should you go then on a super high protein diet versus carbs and fats to feel full during the day? Hell no. By doing so, you will face the risk of reducing the goods that come from having both carbs and fats in the diets, such as fiber content and micronutrients. One interesting fact about protein is that around 30% of the energy coming from protein itself, it's used from your body to actually digest, absorb, and assimilate it versus a mere 8% for carbs and 3% for fats. This might help explaining why, after eating a meal rich in protein, you might feel hot. There's a lot of energy burned to process your food. Damn it, enough. Hello?
Dude, hold on. So if I work out, I need protein to build the muscles and recover, but if I don't work out, then I don't need it, right? Right? Because, my brother Gene told me so, and I really trust him.
Well, you probably trust the wrong person. Anyway, so imagine this. Do you need to breathe only when you move or constantly?
Duh, constantly during the day, dude.
Well, then the image is the same. Your body needs to breathe no matter what. And inside you, there's this constant balance between disassembling and assembling, exchange of nutrients and renovation. Protein, as amino acid, is essential in a large part of these processes, so yes, you do need protein every day. It doesn't matter if you work out or not. There's a lot more to say about protein, but today we just touched the tip of the iceberg. My intention was to provide you the basics to understand the first of the 3 macronutrients that we need to have in our diet to function properly. And that was it for the first episode of the Macro 101 mini-series. I hope you find this useful and that you were able to understand a little bit more on the reason behind I always say, eat your protein! But jokes apart, if you do have any question or anything that you would like to ask me, please reach me on my Instagram channel at thecarl.fit. Thank you for listening and have a great week, everybody.